In this video, we are going to discuss about the Indian Constitution. The constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all the people living in that country. The constitution is the supreme law that determines the powers and duties of the government and gives certain rights to the people of that nation or state. Now let us find out, why does a country need a constitution? The Constitution ensures that the state's powers are dispersed between the different government bodies and individuals and that the citizens' rights are upheld. A constitution is necessary for the following reasons. First, a constitution tells us what the fundamental nature of our society is. Second, it lays down principles and guidelines which are required for people belonging to different ethnic and religious groups to live in harmony. Third, it determines the relationship of the citizens with the state. The Constitution of India is the supreme law of India. This document lays down the procedures, powers, and duties of government institutions. It also spells out the fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and the directive principles of state policies. Now, how was the Constitution framed? In 1946, a year before India got its independence, a special assembly was constituted which is known as the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly was responsible for drafting a constitution containing laws for the people of independent India. People from all walks of life, such as engineers, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, farmers, teachers, and many others, were part of the Constituent Assembly. A draft committee was formed to finalize the constitution based on the discussions in the Constituent Assembly. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. For his role in drafting the Indian Constitution, he is widely considered as the father of the Indian Constitution. And do you know, it took nearly 3 years to complete the drafting of the Indian Constitution. Now, here are some fun facts about the Indian Constitution. Did you know that the original Constitution of India was handwritten by Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada in a flowy, italicized style with beautiful calligraphy? Each page was beautified and decorated by artists from Shantiniketan. The Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on the 26th of November 1949 and it came into force on the 26th January 1950. And this is why we celebrate this day as Republic Day. The concept of the directive principles or the socio-economic rights were taken from the Constitution of Ireland. Interesting, isn't it? Now, at the beginning of the Constitution, we have the Preamble. The Preamble is an introduction to the Constitution. It explains the kind of government that the Constituent Assembly planned for India based on what the people wanted. The Preamble says, "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation." In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Now, we went through a lot of different words. Now, let us see what each of them mean. Sovereign. India is an independent country. It is free to conduct its own affairs, both internal and external. Socialist means the wealth of the country should be shared by all Indians. It aims to end poverty ignorance, disease, and inequality of opportunity. Secular means that there is no official religion. Also, all religions are equally important and equally respected. All the citizens of India have the right to profess, practice, and propagate the religion of their choice. The word democratic republic means that the government is elected by the people and the head of the country is the president, elected or nominated by the people of the country. Justice. All the people have access to justice and will be given equal treatment without any social distinction based on caste, color, race, religion, sex, and so on. Equality means equal and fair opportunity to each and every citizen, irrespective of their status, class, religion, and caste. And fraternity means to make sure all Indians try to live like brothers and sisters. All people should be treated with respect. The country should remain united, whole, and unharmed. Now, let's take a look at the features of our constitution. The Constitution of India is the lengthiest constitution in the world. It lays down certain instructions on how a country should be governed. It defines the structure, procedures, and duties of the government. The Constitution includes the fundamental rights and duties of the citizens and the directive principles which the government must follow to govern well. As of October 2021, our Constitution has 448 articles in 25 parts, 12 schedules, 5 appendices, and 101 amendments. Now, what are the directive principles of state policy? The ideals of the preamble are very important for our country to work. To make sure that these are practiced by the government institutions, the Constitution has laid down some guidelines. These are called the directive principles of state policy. These guidelines help the government to make and implement policies. It is a duty of the state to follow these principles while taking administrative decisions as well as in making the laws. The basic aim of the directive principles is to establish a welfare state. The directive principles are regarded as the basic foundation of democracy. They are incorporated in the Constitution to meet the economic and social aspirations of the people of our country. Now, there are several directive principles of state policy. Some of them are given below. Equal pay should be given to both men and women for equal work. People who are old, sick, disabled, unemployed, or in any serious need should be provided with help. Weaker and backward sections of our society should be helped to improve them educationally and economically. Nutrition and public health for Indian citizens should be improved. The environment, forests, and wildlife of the country should be protected and improved. All the objects and monuments of the country should be protected. From the directive principles, we now move on to the fundamental rights. Now, India has the largest population in the world. The citizens of India practice different religions, they belong to different castes, and speak various languages. In order to maintain peace and harmony in a country with such diversity, our constitution has given certain rights to all the citizens of India. These rights are known as fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are basic rights which every Indian must have access to. There are 8 fundamental rights granted by the Constitution of India. They are the right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies, right to information, and right to education. The right to equality guarantees that all citizens will be treated equal in the eyes of the law. Every citizen, irrespective of his or her caste, creed, gender, and place of birth will be given equal opportunity in all fields such as employment, legal justice, etc. The right to freedom gives the citizens the freedom of speech and the right of expression to express themselves through writing, literature, and drama. It also gives them the right to assemble, to move, to reside in a place of their choice, or to practice any profession. The right against exploitation states that no one can force others to work against their will. If someone is found to be doing so, he or she will be punished by law. This right also ensures that children below 14 years of age are not forced to work in hazardous conditions where there is a risk to their life and health. The right to freedom of religion gives every Indian the right to follow the religion of one's choice and to propagate it. It also includes the freedom to manage religious affairs and freedom from religious instructions in certain educational institutions. The cultural and educational rights are contained in Articles 29 and 30. This right protects the right of any section of citizens to conserve their culture, language, or script. The right to constitutional remedies is one of the most important fundamental rights. This article states that if any citizen is denied any of the fundamental rights, then the person has the right to approach the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, for redressal. This means that the Supreme Court is the defender and the guarantor of our fundamental rights. For this reason, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar stated that Article 32 is the soul of the Constitution and the very heart of it. Now, the Constitution of India is not rigid, it is very dynamic. Additions and deletions can be made to it according to changing conditions. That is why there are two more rights that were added later to the Constitution. They are the right to information, or popularly known as the RTI. Under this fundamental right, any citizen of India may request information from a public authority. The main aim of this right is to empower the citizens and to promote transparency and accountability in the working of the government. Right to education. This right has provisions for free and compulsory education for all children between the ages of 6 to 14. Under this right, no child can be held back, expelled, or required to pass a board examination until the completion of elementary education. Just as our Constitution has provided us some rights, it has given us certain duties to perform. As a citizen of our country, we should be responsible and must perform these duties towards our country. These duties are known as fundamental duties. Now, let us take a look at some of the fundamental duties as prescribed in the Indian Constitution. To abide by the Constitution and to respect the national flag and national anthem. To follow the ideals of the freedom struggle. To protect the sovereignty and integrity of the nation, to defend the country and render national services when called upon to do so, to promote the spirit of harmony and common brotherhood, to preserve our composite culture, to preserve our natural environment, to develop a scientific temper, to safeguard public property, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity. Parents or guardians to provide opportunities for education to their children between the ages of 6 to 14. These rights and duties have been enshrined in the Constitution, keeping in mind the general well being of the Indian citizens. Hence, we should respect and follow our Constitution.